So in this video I want to talk to you about the rent to SA strategy and how you can generate money from a property that you don't own. So rent to SA stands for rent to serviced accommodation. So the idea is you take a property and then instead of renting it on a 6-month AST, you would rent it by the night via Airbnb or Booking.com or something similar. So how would you do that? So first of all, you need to find the property. This example is one that you don't own. So you could have a look on, say, Rightmove and look for city centre apartments. These are good examples because these are the sort of places that people want to stay when they're going to go away travelling, staying short term. So you can search on Rightmove, looking for city centre apartments. Ideally, you'd want something like a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, with gated parking, in as close to the city centre as possible. You would then agree a lease with the owner of the property. So, for example, if you lease a property like that for £800 a month, and then you can then list it on Airbnb for say £100 a night. £100 a night over 30 days would be £3,000 income. It's very unlikely you're going to have 100% occupancy on a property like that unless you can get long-term contractors in there. So you'd normally be looking at about a 70% occupancy rate as an average. So 70% of £3,000 is about £2,000 a month. You pay £800 to the owner, you've got your bills, which are say £500 a month, and then you're left with the profit at the end, which could be about £700 a month. With that, if you get a 2-bedroom apartment, which has got, say, 2 king-size beds in there, you can also charge an additional rate for more than 2 guests. So say if you've got more than 2 guests staying there, and you charge an additional £25 per person over the 2 guests. So instead of making £100 a night on that one property, if you have 4 guests staying there, then you'd actually be making £150 a night, which then obviously increases your profit on that. Why would a landlord let you do that? That's a good question, I suppose. Again, for the landlord, if you can guarantee their rent for 3 to 5 years, that landlord, it's pretty hands off for them. They know that the property is going to be well maintained, because if you're listing that property on Airbnb or Booking.com, you're going to have to keep it in a good condition because the guests are going to be leaving you crappy reviews if it's dirty, if it's damaged, if there's any maintenance problems in there. So from the landlord's perspective, the property is going to be kept in a tip-top condition, and in a better condition than most tenants will keep it, because it's going to be getting cleaned every other day as the guests check out. So that's just a quick example. My advice is, if you're going to go for that strategy, then look for blocks of flats. If you do it on like an apartment here, an apartment there, then it doesn't really work when you come to turn the apartments around with the cleaners, because you're going to have to travel from one location to the next location to be cleaning them, and then you've got the hassle of where you store your laundry, where you do your linen, all those kind of things. If you can get a block of flats and you can have a storage unit there, you can have all your linen stacked up, ready to go. The cleaners turn up, take the linen, turn all the apartments around in the same block, and then you can have somebody who can come and pick up the linen, the following day, get it washed, get it turned around, and then put back. So that's an example of how you can use other people's property to do the rent to SA strategy on there. Obviously, if the property is not furnished, you have to have all the additional costs of putting furniture in there, your Wi-Fi and all those bits and bobs. But it's a good strategy to do to create cash flow very quickly with minimal input from yourself, and you don't actually have to pay out for deposits because you don't own the property.